In the past 12 months, we've launched 30 unique products on Amazon, most of which we achieved the Amazon's Choice badges for our top keywords within the first 30 days while staying net profitable. And we did this using our 7-wave launch framework for Amazon ads. All right, so the first thing before we can go over execution, we have to address this big issue that a lot of new and established sellers are making. Is they're putting the cart before the horse. If you don't have at least these questions answered, I say go back to the drawing board. What are your top competitors? What are the top keywords that you optimize your listing for? Are you entering this product into Vine? Because I don't see any reviews yet. If they're launching multiple variations, which variant do you believe would have the highest conversion rate? Because you'll find out as you're doing that research whether or not that product's even going to be successful or not. Next, we'll go over the only ad tactic that you actually need, that 80-20. This one ad tactic is what this entire launch framework is built upon. When you're doing Amazon ads, it can be very easy to lose focus on what really matters. As a business owner, we all know that profit is king. A 25% ACoS today is not the same as a 25% ACoS 2 years ago because of all the Amazon fees that are growing, the tariffs, cost of goods sold, even stuff like promos, because if you're not running coupons, then what are you doing, right? We can't just look at ACoS. And so taking a more holistic approach to advertising, we found out some pretty important things. Specifically, we found out that so all of them generate ad sales except for sponsored TV. They generate impressions and exposure. But sponsored product ads, they not only generate the ad sale, but they have a compound effect and they also lift organic ranking. Knowing this, a 25% ACoS sale from a sponsored product ad actually outweighs a 25% ACoS sale from a sponsored brand or sponsored display ad, because not only are you getting that ad sale at that specific efficiency, but it's also contributing to your organic search rank. I did a deep dive on this. I'll put the video somewhere over here. We did like a year-long analysis on what happens when we, for example, pause sponsored brand ads, what happens to organic keyword rank, and most importantly, what happens in net profit. And so that's what we found is that people get too distracted with all these other ad formats, like the video ads. Like, I know they're highly engaging. People click on them. They could spend a lot and they could be at a very low ACoS, but they don't impact organic keyword rank. This eliminates the argument that anything besides sponsored product ads are necessary for visibility or to have a profitable launch. So check out that video if you're curious about that at all. Now let's go ahead and talk about execution. Amazon ads have changed a lot within the past 2 years. Before on Amazon, as long as you had a decent product, you can really use that shotgun approach where you just launch as many relevant ads as possible, because with the right bid, you could drive profitable sales. But nowadays, Amazon favors conversion rate much more than they did before. And so keeping that in mind, in the very beginning of a product launch, we found that it's best to be hyper relevant, right? To not launch all those different ad placements, but only launch the top ads that we believe that we should be converting for. This helps us achieve the highest conversion rate as possible. And then over time throughout the launch, then we start to gradually expand from there. And so the way that I've broken this down is into 7 different waves, and each wave builds off of the next one. At the beginning, it's the wave 1's the most relevant ad placement, and then slowly over time, we get less and less relevant. Now, I'm not saying that we're just targeting any keyword, but I'm saying that we can start to slowly expand from there. And this gradual expansion helps us win those new bestseller badges quickly early on, which helps us then reach those Amazon's Choice badges. The one thing that you want to keep in mind for each of these waves is that they all share these commonalities, and that's that one, you want to gradually activate each wave at a time. You don't activate all of them at the same time. That's what helps us stay relevant in the beginning and expand later on. Second, all the campaigns we're going to be launching throughout this are going to be single targeting campaigns. You can achieve the lowest cost per click possible for each single one of your ads if you launch it within a single targeting campaign. So that's why we want to do it. And the next thing, we're going to want to start with a very low bid and definitely low budgets until we optimize these ad placements. And specifically with low bids, we want to inch them up over time. So for example, when we launch wave 1, let's say there's going to be 20 campaigns in wave 1. We're gonna wanna start with a very low bid. And then if it's not generating any impressions, then gradually over time, like every day or every other day, just start to inch up that bid a little bit. And what that helps us do is it helps us reach the lowest cost per click possible. The last thing you wanna do is use Amazon suggested bids, because those are always inflated. All right, now let's go ahead and dive into each wave. So wave 1 are gonna be those top 10 to 30 keywords that you optimize your listing for, targeting them through exact match. Also, this is a really good time to target your direct competitors. Those same like 1 to 3 competitors that you think that your product is objectively better than, go ahead and target them all within wave 1. So this is gonna make sure that you're hyper relevant in the beginning. Sure, sales may be few, but your conversion rate will be very high. Now, wave 2 is now you can start to expand a little bit by launching those same keywords now through phrase match. Okay, so you're gonna start getting maybe a little bit more long tail keywords. It also gives the same search term maybe a different shot, because we find that, you know, if we launch a keyword in exact match, for some reason it just may not do well, and it may just do better in phrase match. All right, wave 3, now we're starting to get a little bit more expanded, but still hyper relevant. We're gonna go after expanded ASIN targeting. So that is those same ASINs that you targeted before, those direct competitors, but now we're using the expanded function to perhaps go after some more products that are similar to that original ASIN, okay? Now, wave 4 is a little crazy. So this is waterfall autos. What a waterfall is it's launching multiple campaigns at different starting bids. So for example, if your product is, let's say $25, launching an auto close match campaign at, let's say 25 cents, and then another one at 35 cents, and another one at 45 cents, another one at 55 cents, and so on up to like, let's say $2, right? You'll be surprised how many different ad placements you'll convert at what bid levels. And you'll also be surprised at how some of the higher starting bids, they will actually convert more efficiently than some of the lower starting bids. So you're gonna be launching auto campaigns, but specifically only the close match targeting type. Do not target loose or substitute or complements. We'll get there. But for now, we still wanna be somewhat relevant, so only do the close match. One important thing, do not inch up bids for autos. Hey, real quick, if you've gotten even a single nugget of value so far, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. It helps this video reach even more sellers who need this info. All right, let's get back to the case study. Next, now wave 5, broad match. So now we're gonna launch those same keywords that we did in wave 1 and wave 2, but now through broad match. This is gonna pull in a lot more keywords. And pro tip for these 2 waves, start leaning into negative targeting so that it'll, you know, conserve some of your spend. Now wave 6 is gonna be waterfall again, but this time it's gonna actually be doing the loose match, substitute, and complements. Again, separating each one of those targets out into their own different campaigns. Okay, and then last but not least, this was everyone's favorite, keyword harvesting. So now by this time, you should be generating consistent sales from all of the previous waves. And now we want to actually look in the search term report and start finding some more converting search terms. Sure, you could have done this as early as over here, but really this is the 80-20, right? We want to maximize impact using minimal resources, which includes your time. So I wouldn't do this until here, because now you're gonna be able to take advantage of all of these waves, right? These are the biggest discovery ones. So by this time, keyword harvesting should get you a lot of search terms. And pro tip, if you're not the brand owner, if you're a service provider watching this, give the brand owner a heads up when you launch wave 7, because we've seen that it can double orders. It just pulls in so many keywords, and it could just drive so much sales, and that could really impact inventory. So watch out for that. So an example of what this actually looks like, I use the garlic press as an example. And so I broke down each wave into like a different row. So this is wave 1, this is wave 2, this is wave 3, this is wave 4 autos, right? Wave 5, wave 6. I'll quickly go over these. But one thing I want to make clear too is that I also provided recommendations for each price point. So if your product is under $25, then I recommend starting with bids and budgets around this level. Whereas if your product is, let's say, over $100, you don't want to start that low, because it could take a while for you to eventually inch up those bids, which is precious time during a honeymoon period. So let's say for a $100 product or $200 product, you could start much more aggressively. You have those margins, and the cost per click is most likely going to be this high because your competitors are that higher price too, and they have those margins, right? So we want to start slightly higher with those. Give you an example. So as I mentioned over here, wave 1 targeting exact match and ASIN targeting, you see how over here, these are those 10 to 30 most hyper relevant keywords. Don't judge me off of this keyword research. This is just like a chat GPT output. I said, give me an example of a garlic press. But yeah, so you'll notice that these keywords are the exact same things as these keywords. So like I mentioned, we're targeting the same keywords in the exact phrase in broad, just at different times, right? And then as an example, here is also wave 3 expanded ASIN. So I mentioned it's the same target as up here in wave 1, except now we're using the expanded functionality. This is also a good time to use category targeting. And you want to pay attention to the bid levels too, because we can bid slightly higher for exact match. It's still very low, but slightly higher than, let's say, phrase match, and definitely higher than broad match, right? You want to start very low for some of these ones, and low budgets too. Also notice how the campaign bidding strategy, I only really use fixed bids for wave 1 because we know that we definitely want to show for these keywords. We don't need to use dynamic down only. What this does is give Amazon control in figuring out when it should decrease bids for certain people. But at the end of the day, we know that anyone on Amazon searching for these, we want to show for it, especially for wave 1. Whereas, some of these other ones, I put them all dynamic down only because they can be a little bit more exploratory and possibly showing for irrelevant ad placements, especially some of these ones right here. So we want to use dynamic down only for those ones. To explain the waterfall, this is what a waterfall looks like. Just kind of like each one is its own different campaign. Each row is at its own different campaign, and it has a different starting bid, right? And same thing for the loose match. If you follow this strategy to the T, then you're most likely ranking within the top 3 of your desired keywords while still being net profitable. Congrats. If that's not the case, comment below and we'll figure this out together. All right, so now that you are profitable and already dominating within your category now, what are you gonna do now, right? Sure, you can maybe scale a little bit further by launching more ad formats, but you may start getting diminishing returns by investing more into advertising. At this point, it may be better for net profit if you actually start to pull back. But how do you do that? And how do you do that in a way to where you don't lose any organic ranking, right? You want to maintain that chokehold while maximizing net profit. So if that at all sounds valuable to you, then click on this next video up here that shows you how to strategically pull back without losing any of your chokehold in your category. If this video is not up yet, then comment below and tell me to hurry up because I'm still working on it right now. All right, family, thank you so much for your time. Send this video to someone who you think may benefit from it. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.